And we are live again. Hey, Dakota. You want to see what I've been working on? Check it out. Little buggy. Ah! Oh my. Wee buggy. Yeah, I gotta go to the store. Just popped in for for a moment. I'll be right back. Looks nice. Thanks. We gotta have a buggy. I don't know why it's imported wrong though. But anyway, that's what we're working on. I'll be testing that coding thing later. Cool, awesome. Anyway, I want to try to get this buggy thing working. Figure out what's wrong with the seat that I created. And if that is truly the original normal seat, I can probably just re-export a lot of this and make it work. But the assets that we already have. Because I think it's just the normal seat without the arm guards. Mm. What am I doing at Dix? I'm working on the buggy. And we're going to be doing some netcode stuff. Hey, Mungalo. How's it going? Follow per usual. Yeah, I get into it. And I'm like, yeah. Have a great session. I'm about to play D&D. Awesome. Thanks, Frank. Yeah, I don't know why this... Wow, this is like messed up big time. What is this seat from? The cockpit? Yeah, I think that's just using the regular throttle. Let's see, what is up with that asset? Yeah, I don't know why I have like a model for here instead of under assets models where things are supposed to go. What is this one from? We'll continue to watch until our game begins. It's Thursday night after all. It's supposed to be the first version of the trading ship. From way back. Yeah, it's not. Yeah, oh my god, this model's so old. This was back when I first, this is the gray box of the original ship. Oh, it's so cool. $2022. Yeah, let's move this into assets, model, ships. No. Okay, let's see. Let's see X node stuff. Now, I actually had a material for this that was like set up, and I bet you the stuff for it is no longer in this at all. I don't need these faces either. Come to think of it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, anything I'm using from multiple places, we're actually going to set it up right, you know? Kind of clean it up. So we're not using like more data. Alright, so what's the deal with this unshading? It was at one point on the second material, which is brush material, a brush seal, which doesn't seem to exist anymore. Like it was under projects art. That's like terrible location for it. I'm gonna go find it and try to get the stuff actually put back in where it should go. So it's under projects, game systems. Yeah, so they're there. And we're just gonna put them where they should be, which is that's the brush and the normal. Didn't actually get converted into a normal the way that it should have for some reason. Let's just go into materialize. Select the diffuse map. Is that not a JPEG? Should it be a JPEG? Does it matter? I don't doesn't know how to use PNGs or something. I mean, none of this is going to be transparent. You go back into the same folder. Oh no, it does work. Okay, never mind. Problem is me. That said, as a JPEG, that was way better in compression. Anyway. Yeah, right. We want shape from the fuse. Like a crisp. Please wish us luck. And the Raven left. Yeah, good luck. Don't die. What? Why is it a BMP? Can I choose what I want it to be? I mean, it doesn't really matter. We can just save it. Yeah, see, that's much better. Now when this gets exported, it won't be so bad. These could have definitely probably been more, like, been smaller, though. I don't know what their resolution is. Hmm. No, that, oh yeah, let's update the asset. Now let's go to the cockpit van. And then we're gonna add this one in on the file. And just readjust it. We don't really know where it's going to go yet. But we're just going to kind of wing it. And then we can delete all this old one. Same with the seat. Like the cockpit in the fighter would be like exactly the same as the one we would use. So like we wouldn't really need to have you know, anything special here. Like obviously the pedals would be something that would be more unique. And design a bit different. What even? What is this thing? Oh, it's just a build-up thing for the seat to go on. And we have different seats. We have this combat seat, which is pretty much exactly the same. Link. Now I know what this one does, you know. This one might be better for it. Yeah, I guess we'll just place it. So at 0.75, yeah, that seems to be the better solution. I'm gonna figure out where that seat collection is, and then we can delete it. And I guess it's in the file, just not, I don't know. Probably doing throttle now. The old joystick. Is perfectly fine there. What is in concept? Nothing. This can go moved into the buggy cockpit. Lift. Pedal should be its own collection. Yeah, I think your arms are going to be a lot higher than that, so you should be aligned to each other. We'll fix that later. No, there was no door on this thing. At all. Does this break any geometry? No. Raptor rear door. Yeah, something that kind of like has a further down kind of like airlocky seal thing. This has an optional way of getting in if we for a different type of module. Yeah, I will detail this later. And let's move petals to their own collection. Do 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 do. So I wonder what was causing this. Base orientation looks good. There was something underneath the seat. Yeah, I guess it's not there now. Yeah, I think. All right, take this, re-export it again. It doesn't need to be perfect right now. I just want to give it a little bit of detail. What is that? It is in the cockpit. Oh, there must be a join or something? Oh. I don't know if this needs solidify on it anymore. If we ourselves are going to be solidifying it. That was the whole point of making these edges ourselves. Although it is nice to have them up here. I'll just add them. Oh, that's it. I don't know why the solidify didn't actually work. Because we are clipping. Curious if there is something here. Yeah, cool. Dakota is back. Alright, re-import. What does this look like? Like a death trap. Cool. Huh. Okay, let's add. Do I want to do anything with the pedals right now? Probably not. Oh, I do like these. Match pedals. Maybe that's just our pedal. Single thing. Yeah, we might actually make these kind of cool looking at a later stream. Yeah, like this can scale. Yeah, like that. Why are these not mirrored? Right, like this is in a pedals collection, but why is there two? Why is there another collection here called petals. I don't know. Let me actually open. I'm gonna go and clean up this. Clean up these. Bronze color. A rubber. So, camera. None of this stuff's ever been set up correctly. We should set it up. Brim, hey, what's up? I tuned your stream a day ago. Really like your work that you're doing. Keep it up. Oh, thanks, Brim. Means a lot. You know, we're just right now. I'm currently working on the game full time, so everything. All the words of encouragement, you know, go a long ways. You know, there's a lot to do, and not a lot of time to do it. But we're working on a buggy today, a land vehicle for the game, which is this guy. So I want to get the suspension system actually working, like physically, like if you were to put this in the real world type thing. The idea is that the buggy has like the same engines for rotating as it does moving, so there's redundancy. So like a visual redundancy, right? Like kind of, you know, very primitive materials, easy to flip over. Something that if you saw it, you know, like visually makes like everything on the thing makes sense. Like, oh yeah, like that could totally be a, right? Like a buggy. Now, I don't plan to do land vehicles for a while. It's not going to be like a big focus right now, like for this sprint anyway. But I already had the model finished last year, like kind of like midway through the year. So it was already there, and I wanted to kind of learn how the vehicle controller works. And so for like some of my multiplayer work, I figured I'd like start integrating a lot of this tech and just kind of like, you know, getting ready so we could have like a, you know, FPS, you know, working with both vehicles, and, you know, like create the different types of ships. They don't have to be like, you know, extremely, you know, advanced code or anything right now, but, you know, just to kind of make sure that they all work together. Yeah. Looks awesome, thanks. And I'm just going to make a little bit of terrain so we can kind of like mess with. Let me get up my Facebook. I'm going to like generate one from scratch here. Because I think I have a planet generator, like under or somewhere. Just to kind of... We're doing this with geonodes. Oh yeah, we could totally do this. We kind of Yeah. What does he do with this? Plane. Subdivides it. We don't need to go any crazy because I might use geo nodes. I've been using Midjourney for inspiration. Just so it comes with a lot of like scenes and environments. Nice. Are you a game developer as well, Bram, or a 3D artist? Yeah, let's go and see if we can kind of do that with some maybe with some geo nodes. Never actually created any terrain in Blender, so I like the idea of just kind of setting it up. We'll do like a 1 kilometer artist for 15 years, but me and about a team of 14 other engineers are working on a social media app called let me move this over. We're working on a social media app called Vibe in Real Life. We're getting ready to launch in 2025. Oh, that's awesome. Cool. Yeah, say a big, we'll say like a kilometer of fun would be good. I don't know what we're gonna get out of this in detail, but we'll just do like 1,000. And we'll put like an edge on it, like something that we can't really escape. I'm just gonna call this planet material, because the goal is pretty much just to so we'll put this under assets models. We'll do landscapes. Call this test landscape. 1K versus 1K. Or yeah, 1K square. This will always be square. Okay. Let's see. Can we change our default? Which engine am I using? I'm using Godot. Yeah. The game was originally in it was originally in Unity, and switched to Godot last year, well, 6-7 months ago, and started porting over all the kind of the systems. It's been pretty good. I mean, Unforgiven Space had around, I don't know, I think it was almost 600 C# scripts, each doing like, different logic. And so there was a lot to port, but everything was pretty same. You know what I mean? Like there was nothing too different about it. Like, triggers are area 3Ds, and instead of like on trigger enter, there's, like describe your own methods. But the refactoring, the difference between each of the game engine systems was simple enough that you could refactor a lot of stuff, and just get it back, to that point. Godot's lighting is so much better than Unity's. It's kind of I would say their default EBR, their default shader, standard shader 2D, sits between like HDRP and SRP, kind of as far as like what the shader has for like, subsurface. Like there's a subsurf value, you can give it a subsurf map. Like there's a lot, like people just don't normally use, like I don't see anyone making like hyper realistic games in Godot, but like it's fully supported. Yeah, exactly, right? The old input system, new input system, new changes, new render pipeline, new workflow changes that you need to adapt to, and then ultimately, you're kind of stuck, in the same. It runs so fast; it's like 200 megabytes. You know what I mean? Like running a Godot project, and my project's pretty big. Like Unforgiven Space is probably 12 gigs, right? It runs fine. Like the multiplayer seems to be great. I think there's quite a bunch of stumble blocks, like the shadow map handling. Oh, like in Godot, you mean? I haven't looked at like any of the baked lighting or the way that shadow maps are created or anything like that. I know you're way more under the hood than I am. But I think they're going to get there. I mean, 4.2 is coming out soon. The 4.2 looks awesome. Can you use Substance in Godot? I mean, you can just, the default Godot workflow is to use GLTFs. I haven't gone into Substance and see if I can re-export to GLTF because I haven't really gotten into, like, I haven't touched textures at all. But as long as you can re-export to the FBX or GLTF, which is the preferred format, it all should work. I don't know what I have to make this wrong. Go away. I keep forgetting that there's like free like materials we can get every single month. It will allocate shadow map space even for disabled lights. Also, try using more than 2 UVs on a model. Gotcha, sorry. I don't know. Oh, he didn't know you didn't have him jump yet, but I'm sure I will not. Yeah. Yeah, because I think if we... thought I had something. Let me see if we can re-import something here. We have talking SVPs. Import a resource. What do we have? All files. I'm just gonna go and see what we can see if we can grab something that we just exported. Thanks for the follow, Julian. I'm talking on Twitch as well, yeah, multi-streaming. I'm trying to get my Facebook actually up there, which is Captain Revere. I can multi-stream to that as well. But you're not allowed to go live, apparently, until you need to get 100 followers. I'm going to actually show that here in the... let me go to chat arena. For those that are in Facebook land that want to follow, we're 40 members off, I guess, and then I'll actually start doing that because I just like all I mostly care about is just the more eyes on the game. You know what I mean? I just want to get more eyes on the game, more exposure. Terrible at marketing right now because I don't have a very limited amount of time. is that between the two of us, we can set up like 100 accounts and make followers. Oh, Minerva's, yeah. Just I don't need to go that route with it, but you know. Let's see if we can bring in the buggy wheel. It looks like it. So let's see. As long as we can bring in a GLTF, I think we'll be fine. Although, maybe not. Or is that not what I do? Did I not do it right? Open import? Isn't it just import mesh? Maybe it does have to be an FBX. Location doesn't exist. Yeah, we'll have to play with it. You just joke it. Thanks for the follow. Bot bust. Yeah, let me show you. Yeah, what do you think, Raylet? Of where I'm kind of going with things graphically. What I have working today, you know, this week is I have the quantum drive stuff actually working, which is great. It's gonna be a bit kind of. Oh, okay, perfect. With everything I have running, this is probably not gonna run that great, and NDI does not like me. Yeah, especially when I'm running ray tracing and Blender on half of this stuff. I gotta run a GPU memory. Yeah, too much stuff running. Like that's another thing that I noticed about like having more than a couple of projects. Like when you run a couple different Godot instances of the editor, it doesn't like it. But yeah, this is the buggy Raylet that I'm working on. Like an actual working buggy. Like the wheels are actually like turning. It has a suspension. Right. There's a cargo loader variant to this for loading up cargo. I would go Kickstarter, Patreon, whatever you start these videos, it has some like Patreon. Like, yeah, that's what I'm doing right now. That's how I'm funding it, right? So, and this is a very uncanny approach, probably, but I just push builds now, right? Like my goal is to get to like 600 USD, you know, by the time the summer is over. But I know I can't promise that until I, you know, get everything playable, where we can just kind of jump into a test build and actually like see the game. But I just keep pushing, like, you know, pushing builds, right? Just every Sunday, if there is something I need to test, every Sunday I'll do a build. And this has been my, you know, like kind of my build up for it. And what I'm doing, and like I said, I'm very, you know, even the marketing of this I'm going to stream. So you're going to, you know, is on the membership tier, $5 gives you a handle, and you can access any of the builds. And at $10, you get your own little habitation module you can kind of customize, which everyone's going to have, but just in the main test station that we're kind of working on. So we kind of build up like a little community. That's kind of the you know, the idea, at least where I'm kind of going with it right now. Let me actually close out that buggy scene real quick, and we'll so I can have some GPU memory. Yeah, well, that's the goal. The goal of the summer is to end up with a living build, so a fully working, you know, final build. The frame rate on NDI is terrible, so but just to kind of show you, right? Like so, like on the social side of things, you know, I can actually buy a bunch of these components. Ignore the right, like so I just, you know, I literally have a bunch of stuff, like, you know, like here's my little bar. So you can buy furniture, and you can actually like bring it into your little hab, and you can like snap it into place. So, you know, the idea, ignoring how bad the lighting is right now, is, you know, you the player can customize everything. and you know, like kind of have your own little home away from home that you can kind of, you know, kind of work with. I gotta figure out why we're normally just running at like 300 FPS, but it hates me right now when I'm running a bunch of other stuff. But you know, cool. That's awesome. I'll join. What's that? No Man's Sky creator builder? Yeah, that's kind of what it's like, you know. It's you know, it's meant to be like I'm using the same item port system that I'm using on the ship, right? So that like the whole idea is that everything on the ship is customizable. Actually, I gotta fix those snap points because they're broken on this particular version that I've kind of left here out in the open. And I wish I wasn't getting like 5 FPS on NDI right now, but you know, the idea is like I can, yeah, let me just put this for a second. Let me see if I can gain back some, it's probably just Blender running with Eevee. So let me just kill Blender real quick. And close up Steam. Yeah, you already see how visually it looks. Let me actually kind of show you the other, this project. I won't show you something online. So, yeah, so I guess like I don't know if you were here, Brim, when we were doing some of the online stuff. I'll just kind of show you where I am with some things online. The online scene is very, very, very basic right now. It's meant to only test systems. It's not meant to be anything kind of crazy advanced. So, but it's a good demonstration of like kind of where I am with stuff. So I'll just be Rev, and I'm just going to be a host, and then I'll be Brim as an example, and we'll pick a random color for Brim. So we'll say Brim is red, like Brimstone. And so check it out. So this is kind of like all the netcode is custom that I'm kind of working on for this. So here we have Brim, all the animations are fully synced, right? All the IK is synced. We have the whole idea of the game is we have, I gotta fix that camera color, right? So we use a little data pad kind of for everything instead of a screen space UI, even though when you zoom in, it's supposed to like kind of full screen, but camera culling. You know, that's kind of fixed. But so let's go and kind of do some things here as Brim. So for Brim, we're going to come over here. So just as an example, there's 100 synced NPCs in the scene, right, that we're kind of working with. We're going to go ahead and spawn in our spaceship. I'm going to come over and go to take off, but I'm going to just come over here to the front and just observe as an observer. So here we have, you know, Brim's going to jump in the ship. Brim is going to go and interact with the seat. You can see the interactions are synced. You can see the animations are fully synced. Brim is now in the seat. The ship is now powered on. If I come over here, you can see all the weapon systems are actually working and synchronized. Right? And now if I take off and head off out of this gravity volume, and I just wait, I'm going to wait for Brim. Okay, so I'm going to wait right here, and I would like to go and join on this adventure. Okay, so remember, everything on the ship, all the components can be removed, swapped out, stolen. South Thundering, what's that? No, wait, what? South Thundering Herd, no FPS step. No, there's no FPS step. FPS performance will be crap in the future once we actually are using the final assets, but then we're in like, you know, oh, thank you. But then we have our own issues, right? Like once we're in more final art, like, you know, culling, occlusion, making sure like, you know, like profiling things, making sure the interior of the ship's not rendered when it doesn't need to be. But you know, as long as things work at a fundamental level, you know, that's all that really matters. So we have this terminology called Thundering Herd, which is when a server gets hit with a lot of people and starts to really lag until you have like horizontal scaling. So that's what you're showing me, which is very impressive without any dip in FPS. So I'm going to do this kind of hierarchical system. It's very, I won't say it's complicated, but I'll kind of show you how I want to do things service-wide. And I'll get your opinion on it, right? So like, you know, whatever you kind of think. So this is how it kind of works. And so the way I plan to scale infrastructure, in the beginning, we're just going to keep it very basic, right? Every star system is an instance. So that we only need to manage 35 players, 100 NPCs, 1,000 virtual NPCs, headless NPCs that are doing, you know, transactional, moving data around, doing things, right? That's like an initial scope, right? So I know I can target that. I know we can have jump gates, and jump gates just, you know, connect you to an instance that's only running, you know, that star map. And, you know, and we can, as you're going from star system to star system, we're just loading and unloading, you know, the levels. And that way the servers only have one dedicated level each, right? And that's pretty much it. So the other technology that I want to work on is called Celestial, and what this technology does is it's a replication system. So the idea is we have this very basic TDP UDP system, very low level custom tagged UDP packets. Concept very simple. You run a shard. A shard is a standard Godot server, but it's a standard Godot server that is also a client on Celestial. And we have these entities, and all these entities represent a game object and have basic data like position, rotation, right? Like what the game object is. It's not responsible for synchronizing any of the data of what the entity is. It's responsible for making sure the entity exists on the server, and that the server itself would replicate that down to the client with whatever data would be on the game object version of the entity. And so my thought process, or how I want to do this, is I can have different shards that run parallel. These are each like different Godot servers that apparently this one doesn't have any. Oh, it's the same color as the other game objects. And ignore how long this is taking. I'm actually intentionally decreasing this replication time. But the idea is for this to handle edge cases between regions, right? Regions that have overlap. So like geographically breaking a star map down into specific regions, right? Or conceptually, like my idea is that if we have a game server and we have replication, we could run NPC simulation on a service, right? So an NPC simulation, if they have like high levels of nav mesh calculations, maybe even ships that are trying to do like BS, like kind of like a tree-based, you know, like navigation system, whatever it could be, like costly, more costly than the data at which that are replicating. You could throw those NPCs on a different Godot server, which is simulating it like it would as its own Godot client would, you know, have that push data to replication, and then, you know, that they get spawned on the other shards and they're visualized on the other shards, and the player's obviously seeing them, right? And then, yeah, it didn't offset the, you know, the memory hit, right? So that way, like the idea is that as long as we kind of, you know, like have these systems, right, at any particular point, I can kill replication, right? And because these had like a JWT token for what the replicator was in the first place, the second we run another replicator, right, it will just take over. And now, right, everything's now communicating back with each other. Now, while the replicator was down, we'd have to either interpolate them or phase them out. You know what I mean? But now I can actually, you know, I just killed it. You know, I could actually go ahead and kill all these. You know, but we still have replication, even though there's no longer, you know, getting any data. But, you know, we now spin up another shard, and we're going to get all entities that exist, but now the replicator just needs to say, oh shit, you know, all these entities that have these shard IDs, we only have one shard, so I'm just going to change the ownership of those entities, right, to be that one particular shard. And you just kind of scale it that way, right? Yeah, and then like the only way to kill the system is if you kill both. You'd have to kill the replication and the services at the same time, right? And even if that goes down, um, right, as long as you have a management system that is watching this, and is able to react to, the loss and spin up something, just kind of fail safe it. Um, it's probably good enough, like a good enough TM solution, right? It could scale enough. So what I was going to do is on like Kubernetes side of things. So Agnes is a Kubernetes cluster for running dedicated servers, and they have in their documentation a standard C# library. And what I can do is build up a service layer, so that way, like on the service side, which is spinning up VMs, like spinning up the VMs for each star system, right? It can be watching each of the servers and kind of pulling back, like how many players, what services are running, and it can be dynamically kind of scaling, So you could just float one instance, and if it needs to be replicated, you could like scale that horizontally based on the congestion to server. Yeah, exactly. Right, and then if there's no players playing the game, and it can just kind of like slowly, it kind of phase its way down into like just being one shard, but at least it can break itself up, when it needs to. We could create a shard, for a specific region and start slowly replicating, like entities onto it, especially if they're entities that players not interacted with in any capacity, yet. But anyway, that's all very, very, very early, like prototyping. That's more of me just trying to figure out, like, what challenges will I potentially run into? But still think about, like, just the game as, like, an Elite Dangerous system where it's, just every star system is an instance. It's probably good enough. Right? We're probably not running enough on it that it would bog down, but it's still nice to showcase. Right, so all this stuff is very early. You know what I mean? I'm more generalist game designer slash artist slash, I'm a network engineer by trade, but I'm not like, I don't know all the industry standards when it comes to networking technology. But at least I have an idea. Like I know how I want it to work. Like at least like the concept I think is good, right? Like whether implemented, the concept proves itself to be good. I only have a dream of like, right, like how to make it work. I have no proof from the pudding, you know what I mean, that's going to work. Yeah, oh yeah, right, so let me, yeah, so like, this is the empty test scene where we can kind of do everything. What's that? Ha ha ha, yeah, slash everything person. Welcome to life. Right, so this is the test project where I can actually go in and have a gray box version of the player. I can actually go check all the systems. We can go like buy all the components, put them on the ship. Actually spawn in things, kind of play around with it in a very fast environment. We could buy cargo, right? Put it on the ship. We can do cargo missions. It's all the fundamentals, right? I can spawn in my ship. It spawns in with all of its components, right? I can actually, this is where all, it's fully working and serialized, so I can actually like showcase, right? Like taking off the part, putting it back on. So like we have our quantum drive. What I was testing is the comm system, right? So like, we grab our comm system here. Gonna throw it in the ship. And we're just gonna go and take down we basically built the tools before building the game. It's pretty smart. I hope, yeah, I don't want to run into any, my target audience are Star Citizen players, and we've been waiting for Star Citizen for like 14 years now. And I was originally working on a trading app for Star Citizen, and, I just kind of wanted to, I wanted to make something my own. I wanted to prove that a lot of things that Star Citizen was doing wasn't complicated, like that I could create the gameplay mechanic side of Star Citizen, you know, without a lot of the complexities, you know, like and do it more in a classical Star Wars sense, you know, where things kind of just you know, think things work, and so all the shield systems work. I have the shader won't be live until 4.3 comes out, but you know, just being able to kind of have ships and have them fight you, and kind of getting things kind of like working is you know, super important. The quantum drive is now working, so we can actually warp and you know, slowly increase quantum speed, right? Like, because I want it to feel like Sea of Thieves, you know what I mean? Like, as far as distance goes, like I want you to be able to kind of spend around the same time you would in Sea of Thieves, going around a star system, right? From A to B, playing with your buddies, right? Like, I think that's like, you know, a good example of something that's kind of like good enough. And yeah, and that's the goal for the summers, is to get the vertical slice up. Because I think once we're able to play together, once players can play together in the build, and we can build a community around the game, we'll start doing more devlogs. And but I want it all working. Like, I just want to be able to go and buy cargo and sell it and do missions and just kind of, you know, and it's very transparent. You don't have to be like, oh, we're working on some planetary nav mesh system bullshit. Like, I don't need to make any promises, because you can see, like, you know, it's not like Star Atlas or any other MMO. Like, you know, like, it's very clearly made by one person, and you know, I can only scale my art, you know, depending on, you know, the patronage. You know what I mean? So at least I can be very transparent in the process of things, which I like. Right? So, like, you know, cargo delivery missions, doing pickup, drop offs. A year and a half. It was a year and a half in Unity, and then 6 months implementing everything into Godot, and getting all the systems. But it's fun, you know, like, it's good enough progress. Like, I don't like I think I'm getting a lot of the stuff online. Like, the only thing I lose from Unity is I had a really nice framework for doing planet tech in Unity, which was great, and I don't get that in Godot. So if we want to do planets in Godot, we're gonna have to do our own planet tech. And I wasn't planning on having to do my own planet tech, because it's you know, just a bit more work than I want it to. I do, but let me show you. I can assure you that, you know. No, it was I think it was Orion Space Framework. They have a full Carlos Wickens, I think his name was, did the same tech for like the same proc gen stuff for space engineers. Sorry, what's it called? Maybe it is space engineers too, right? But I do want to deal with rebasing in Unity. Like, that was one of the big things that was super annoying. So there's some early stuff. There's some early, you know, like planet testing, you know, generation on a sphere, all like shader driven, nothing too complicated. Because I don't know, I don't think I'm going to do, like I don't think it matters. Like, I've reached a point as a game designer where I'm kind of like, do we really give a shit about how detailed the planets are or how well they log? Like, you know, I kind of want planet tech to be supplemental to you just being able to go down and land at a landing location. So it still is seamless. So you can still, like, seamlessly go down and land somewhere, and then use lotting to kind of bring, you know, like assets around you. But, like, don't make it a gameplay feature at all. Like, just you know, have the spatial difference, like the time frame. But, you know, use it to create the time frame needed for a player to get somewhere. But don't give the like make it understood from the beginning that there's nothing there. You know what I mean? Except for these locations that the player would go to. You know, to create traversal time, into like intentional traversal time. And then if I do want to, like, layer in mining and things like that and resource management within that space, perfect. But don't, like, if you don't make it an intention, so that way you can have like a gas planet, which is just nothing. A gas planet is a fog shader, or a water planet, which is just one sphere with a shader on it. You know what I mean? You have different variations besides that, but you just don't I think people would be like, you know, if they expect there to be massive, huge kilometers of content, right? And instead, they expect a really cool cyberpunk landing location that's like, it's a Cowboy Bebop, um, Wild West-ish an area. Like that's what they should expect, right? Expect the landing location. Don't expect the content. Like, don't use proc gen to just be proc gen. Just use it as filler. Um, I'd rather go to a place on a planet or a couple of places on the planet that has built out absolutely beautiful than traverse a boring ass planet. Yeah, so I think that's the better approach on the game design aspect of things. I do have Gaia though. I think I paid $200. It was on sale like for $49 back in the day. For like we don't have a lot of terrain tools in Godot. There's terrain 3D, but it's not like it's not perfect, But yeah, this is kind of like what I was working on because I think I could just right, as long as I'm able to generate collision shapes, great. A lot of this stuff can be like kind of built up on the fly, right? Just using lib noise. Clav, not clam. What would I? But yeah, so I want to really explore this and see kind of what we can do. Because I think even if I like took a noise algorithm and we just baked like very crappy, like low resolution collision shapes, like as long as like, because you like on a shader level, we could kind of just make them like, like always be like kind of Z ordered in the minus, like as far away from you as you can, so your feet are not like, you know what I mean? Like you're looking down and you're like still seeing your feet and like whatever, but you could be totally, because of the resolution of the collision shapes, like on, you would be totally like, like kind of like a impermanent mud, like as you walk around a planet. But yeah, I don't really know if it matters. I don't think people care. I just think if the content's there, players that would just enjoy it. It's weird. Yeah, like rendering distance allocation. Hey, fix this. Um, got enough coffee there, Chief? It's decaf. It's decaf because it's 11. But yeah, so that's Unforgiven Space. That's the game. That's what we're working on, and we're just kind of swirling. I had to change. This is why I didn't sleep last night. I was up last night until like 4 in the morning because I wanted to change the way the networking stuff works. So like this is this is my test FPS map that I keep saying I want to make a YouTube video so I can teach people how to use C# and do multiplayer correct. So I finally refactored this to be more, like this is a build that I set up to be like headless. But now on the host side of things, I have it actually set up so I can be like Rav, I can join, and I can be, my other character. So now I have the 2 characters and they're all like working as intended. You guys can't see that though because I'm totally off the screen. And if I hit escape, why do I use escape as the, don't use escape to close the game. Doesn't work. Alright, so I have 2 characters and we have this overlapping, server. And what I was doing in the past was kind of like connecting and just adding the player. And that leads to like having to like RPC to the server. I want to spawn in my ship and then setting authority and doing like a bunch of nonsense. And so what I've done now, I've actually changed this. And it requires a lot of refactoring for pretty much everything. But now on the server, we are instead spawning in clients. So they're literally called clients. And then each client now spawns in their player. So they're not like players anymore that are like their own. This way, the client, which has the network, their own unique network authority, then spawns in their player asset. And now the player asset can be destroyed without disconnecting them or having them like do anything weird. But more importantly now, even on the server, which doesn't have a version of itself or a player, I can actually, by default, move, right? So when a player goes to spawn their vehicle in now, it can just spawn it under its client, So it just, from its own spawner, we'll just replicate it and build it with the correct authority that it needs. And then when I want to pass the authority around, this time, or create something that's more unique, I can still do it in the classical sense, or I can also kind of like reparent and kind of like reset the authority, right? I can have another scene of just like server entities, and as the player is interacting with them with their tractor beam, it's just changing authority, but it's doing that in a server space that has a replicate custom synchronizer. But at least for a lot of the player stuff, like, player projectiles and things like that are in the world, I could put them under the client space, and kind of like have them auto-replicate, through the client, and, and auto-cleanup. But the biggest thing is server A, server B. But the great thing is then when I kill the client, then, at least the default Godot spawner will then gracefully kill all assets that are related to it in its node tree. So this way, like, because that was the issue I was having with a bunch of cache errors, is like spawn in chips and spawn in things, and the server has them in the scene, right? But then when I kill the client, I have a bunch of nodes left that I don't have authority over, right? They're still under that authority ID, but they don't exist, that player doesn't exist. And then if you have to do any logic then to go and take authority of those assets, like for the purpose of cleaning them up, then that needs to be triggered somehow by a callback of some sort. So, before I'd be like RPC, like when the projectile would expire on the server, I would RPC, hey, I've been destroyed, please destroy me, on all the clients, which works. But I'd get, if things weren't completely in sync, it would go wonky. But anyway, by just redoing this a little bit, like taking into consideration that a player should connect and not even spawn their player yet. Now they can gracefully connect in advance, go through character creation, be like connected, but still like, on the menu per se. And then they can either do recustomization to the player, and then finally, like spawn in that player physically, wherever they would be, and then same thing, like when they then spawn in any of their ships and things that I want to pre-spawn, say I want to like pre-allocate, bring that ship in, even though they haven't like spawned it in themselves, but I want to like, hey, you have a ship, I'm gonna go ahead and stick that on there, or get the server to preload it in. You know what I mean? Like the server could be like, oh, this player has a ship, I'm gonna preload this ship, even though the player doesn't want it yet, and I'm gonna stick it, underneath the client reference. That way I'll just pre-replicate that, you know what I mean, in case we, another player, like needs to see it, or we need to, and then the player goes up to the terminal, spawns their ship in, and it's like, oh shit, my ship, this was great, this was really quick. Obviously with limitations, because you probably don't want to do that, depending on the number of players, but it's nice that just now I can, just for the. So yeah, like, this was much better. The way I was dealing with it before, where I was treating the player as the client, worked fine, and for most games would probably work. Usually you are just a player, you're connecting to a server, you're a player, you're created. But the issue is like you can't, you can't spawn, if you're a node 3D, you can't spawn a bullet within yourself. I mean, you could spawn a bullet within yourself and set it to like, to be top level, and it would work fine. But then it's very hacky, and not what you really want to do. So I'm trying to use a lot of the Godot stuff, like their spawner, to do a lot of the work for us, where we can kind of limit, like, the number of entities. But so yeah, just trying to do things cleverly is kind of Because then when I actually like kill the client, things just gracefully go away. Yeah, right. I don't have the health relinked, but you know, we can fight each other here and reset the player. Oh yeah, and and that's the other thing that I love about it too. When I need to subscribe to delegates, so when I need to, like, when the client spawns the player in because it's doing it within its own hierarchy, right? Like on the client side, the client prefab, I could have the references to all the UI and elements that I need to actually kind of bind to. And, you know, and on the client side, instead of having a player, you know, be referencing things that are up in the scene tree or whatever, the client can have the reference to all the UI elements. You know what I mean? It spawns in its player, then it can subscribe to like the player delegates for like on death or for update health or for whatever, which then, so that the glue between like UI presentation and like, you know, the player itself, instead of player becoming ready and then looking for a UI node if they have authority, and kind of like putting all that kind of, you know, dependencies in order, all that goes away. You know what I mean? Because when the player wakes up, its job is to go find a camera out in the scene tree and like, oh, do I have a camera? Oh, I set the camera to be me as a target. And, you know, like having the player ask for things and just kind of be, you know, subscribe to things, you know, decouple it completely from a lot of, you know, dependencies. So anyway, so this is why I didn't sleep last night, because I wanted to get that kind of working, you know, well. So, but now I need to refactor the main project to do that. But it will make spawning in ships, because right now, like in that test project that you saw earlier in Unforgiven Systems, I manually do it all, right? So because you can still manually create a node, set authority, set a RPC to synchronize it, right? Like just create an RPC that says, hey, you know, send to the server this RPC, and then the RPC, you know, says, oh, okay, well, for each client, add this child to the scene tree, right? And then the child, you know, happens to be a network object which has a synchronizer on it, and it all works, but you had to do it all yourself. But you know, I think I can use more of the Godot tools, kind of like do that for me. Not a lot of documentation. That's the biggest issue I think with Godot right now, other than like workflow stuff. Like Godot just needs a couple of years of studios using it, you know, because it lacks. That's what it lacks. It lacks documentation for a lot of things. On the C# side, like examples, right? There's not a ton of them. They do exist. Because right now it's a wonderful game engine for other developers, you know what I mean? But it needs to become a game engine for users, you know, game designers, documentation is always going to be a problem, especially if you're going into something new that doesn't have a big KB. Honestly, though, half of the projects I've worked on, or I had to write my own documentation because you're going through like basic logic patterns. A lot of people like don't particularly think, hey, you're going to have to like document, so they have something to follow through on. Yeah, and that's why I want to make YouTube videos. Like I would love to get the YouTube channel like popping off. It's so much time. There's only so much time. Right, I want to do a series on like netcode in Godot because it's good. Like, you know what I mean? It's like for what most people make. Like if you were going into 3D, right, as an artist and you just want to make a multiplayer game, I know like a lack of documentation doesn't help you, but Godot has fundamentally everything you need to make a co-op game, have it run well, right? Throw it on Steam, you know, like what's that? Just do this. Just get investment and then hire. Yeah, just sell JPEGs. See, that's the mistake, right? I'm not making enough spaceships, right? You know, like I failed by having like 5 different spaceships where we can create unlimited modularity, right? And you know that's the fallacy. They should have all been unique. You know, just keep selling the JPEGs. But, you know, that's it. You know, honest people don't make money. Honest people don't become rich overnight, you know? I love visual scripting, and I think visual scripting is perfect. We don't have any, you know what I mean? Like in Godot, it was removed last update or whatever, like our own visual scripting. But I believe that visual scripting is perfect, especially for level design. Like, there's no reason, like 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 if you have like a level designer, right, and that designer's like, let's say they're putting a station together, right? So you have all the pieces, and they're putting together the station, and they want to add some trigger logic, like you enter this trigger and lights turn on. Like they want to put in like light controllers and things that turn on lights, and just stuff that's like code, like it's obvious logic, but it's level design logic. Right, I think like visual scripting is perfect, and like those team members should be able to use that to create, you know, whatever you need for the game, right? Because people are like, oh well, you know, visual scripting sucks, or you know, spaghetti, but like that's the use case, right? Like if well, like you need to be able to allow people that are creative in other disciplines, you know, to be able to make things, and if visual scripting allows them to yeah, there's a great add-on. It's Godot Orchestra, right? So I haven't validated whether I would personally put Orchestra in Unforgiven space, because I really think it should be brought back into the project. I think not having visual scripting is kind of stupid, but I mean, that's my opinion. But it's also like the engine is continuously trying to be lean. So, and this is still open source, so if we know that like you know, Orchestra is not going to you know, like is going to survive, right? It seems to be updating every day. Then I would use it. But my fear is because it's not in Godot, from a studio perspective, if I depended on it and there was an update to a build which was crucial to some networking code I was working on, as an example, but there wasn't an update to the visual scripting, now suddenly I'm in a weird place where like people who are using visual scripting, let's say for level design, are not gonna, you know, I'm stuck not being able to update Godot to gain access to a feature that I might want, because I have to wait for the visual scripting library to also be updated because of API changes breaking between two Godot versions. As an independent game developer, probably doesn't matter. None of this matters. But if you know, I ultimately want to have more people working for the studio. So whenever I'm doing anything, I think about, if I paid someone else to do this, you know what I mean? Like, what would I want them to do, or what tools would I want them to have, or like how could, you know what I mean? Like this feature be used. But that's the fear, you know what I mean? Lots of contributors. 6, one of them being Fire, who actually works. But yeah, you know, like, yeah, those are the those are my fears when it comes to this stuff. Now, I think it'd be cool as well, like if Godot started sponsoring some of these projects, like as their foundation grows. So, because it's a wonderful idea to keep them separate, you know what I mean? Like just from an integration perspective or whatever, but still, like, I don't know, like throw some money at them, or kind of, you know, like get them kind of funded, or get some of the main contributors on a payroll of sorts, you know, like you know, it's really early days, right? But I mean, like, you know, because I love the idea of kind of like, you know, because maybe the node system can kind of stay as like a GD extension, you know, and that's where it should be, right? But I don't know, and I'm not like small games, like we're fine with that. Yeah, absolutely. But don't overlook it. It's like visual scripting's promise for large games too. They're absolutely perfect for large teams, right? To be able to make content quick, you know, especially like adding in little details, adding in any bit of logic that exists outside the scope of what you could tag on an animation tree, you know. Oh yeah, right. We wanted to get some terrain. I had to actually learn how to do terrain, or I need to go in and actually have it generate some. Maybe let me steal the code. Yeah, let's do that. Let's take some of the code from the other project, because we don't really care too much about the, and it's all vehicles anyway. So I mean, yeah, let's do that. I wasn't planning on doing anything productive tonight, so tonight I was just doing art and working on this buggy. And this is actually Uniform's fault. One of my members of my Discord was like, "Hey, Rab, remember the buggy scene you had in the old game?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, right, the buggy. I think the buggy could be cool." And it's the same design as the main ship, same manufacturer. I don't know the manufacturer of it yet, but it's like conceptually, it matches the main ship. It was supposed to be designed to fold up, like to have these arms face forward, so the motors can spin all the way on the inside. We can like go into the ship, but so that way it would fit within, right, the 3 meters of the back ramp, but it still fits within 4 meters, and I think the rear entrance, the ship itself is 4 meters wide on the interior back, but it's it'd be tight. I'd have to really kind of push it. Well, that's what's on the roadmap now. There's a lot of art assets working on to do. I want to get the Patreon build working. I want to be able to get weekly play sessions with members of the community and get some feedback and kind of build up some. Because I don't really care if we have that much. I would love, like financially, for there to be a ton of patrons, but I also like to just have like 10 or 15 people, you know what I mean, that are active in testing the builds and providing like player feedback and really just kind of, you know what I mean, like we don't need an army of eyes on the project right now. We just need like, I just need help defining a lot of things, you know, and that can only be defined by, hey, test this out and see how the ship flies. You know, I'm gonna put 2 space stations, you know what I mean, like, you know, 20,000 kilometers away from each other. Tell me if it's too long. Like those are like the questions, like the real kind of, you know, cover racing. Thanks for the follow, Blue Lives Matter. I just want to sell a game that makes enough to buy one of those machines where I can make this version. Yeah, I just want to make a game, just enough to buy one of those machines. Which type of machines? Where I can make this versions and sell those. Make like this version. I would like to make enough on the Patreon to pay for like on my wish list of things. I want to get the Steam version of Substance Painter, so I don't need to pay it. So I can get rid of my someone with a good Godot skin color I could watch. Yeah, I have this kind of a pinky purpley black Twitch theme that I made. Yeah, so I think we have a ground texture. Yeah, I think I'm just going to take all of this. Yeah, I'm just going to merge them. Yeah, because I do have the buggy, and I think the buggy can all be moved into vehicles. I don't think there's any, yeah, there's a terrain generator that I was working on. You know what? Yeah, let's totally just... What do you even have a resources folder? We're going to merge these projects together. Hover racing. Let me just make sure we don't have any scenes. Where's my main scene? Right there? Okay, no, we're good. Yeah, we're gonna put these together. And get rid of hover racing. So this is all gonna get merged. Okay, get ignore. Then we're gonna kind of get it all. That's extremely racist. Vehicle code. All right, so let's see if this works. Because what I want to do is I'll just use the terrain that I have here, which is kind of terrible, and we have our little hover bikes. And I don't think the oh yeah, I forgot about that shader. Let's see if I have any code. I don't think this has yeah. So that's good. Cool. Yeah, we could totally do that. We can just put the hover bike theme and everything kind of together. And I create a node reference inside our speeder bike. Yeah, let's do like a node 3D. Build camera gimbal, speeder, camera, gimbal, and put it in the world. I'm gonna be messing with it. Do we have a camera script? We do. With our interpolated position. Let's change this to target. Okay, whatever tracking. It's gonna be public. Why does it drop? Yeah, what did I have for the camera? The camera mount is the target mount. Where is the camera mount? Under the vehicle. Oh, okay. So the camera mount. Oh, okay, I just have it behind. That makes sense. Oh, yeah. Yeah, so I don't think a camera is actually doing anything. We'll turn tracking on and see if it works. So it is. It's very jittery. Why? Because we're interpolating. I don't actually think we're jittering that much. Yeah, especially if the thing is inside the ship. It's relative. Okay, let's get that set up in here with the camera. Oh, okay, that explains why. No collision mesh. Or the vehicle is on like. That sounds familiar. Random mesh example. Static body. And ideally, we'll bake. We'll dig a one-time bake of one of these. But I'm just gonna make this be loud. Photometer. And just give it a bit of depth so it doesn't mess up. Now in this scene, that feels a bit more limited. Why? Oh, because the default settings are not. So here, 0.6, 0.3, 0.9, 0.3. I don't know, man. I think this is gonna be fun. Get the camera on the inside and get it kind of bumping. All we need to do is make like a spring on the camera when we're on the inside. So we take some of the rigid body forces that are being applied to the actual vehicle controller, and kind of, you know, kind of like either that, or we can take like the up direction from whatever the planet is, or from whatever the surface is that we're actually on. And we can kind of like, you know, if we know what's up, the thing is kind of like freaking out and moving around, we can have the, you know, the player camera controller inside it, kind of trying to correct itself. So it has a bit of like kind of motion to it as it's like going over bumps and stuff like that. I think that'd be kind of cool. So because you want to get that kind of, you know, feeling of like, you don't want it to be stiff. It'd be annoying. Yeah, it's actually renamed Vehicle Buggy now. It is. Instead of it just being a standard vehicle. And I'll create a custom buggy class that'll extend vehicles, so we can have like a generic vehicle class for everything. Anyway, for the time being, let's put the camera. Let's make vehicle be editable. And we should really look into making a camera mount. Yeah, just gonna call this one camera mount. So it'll be external. Camera mount external. And we'll need a camera mount for the wheels first. Mm-hmm. Camera mount external, and we need one on the inside. So camera mount. Oh, let's actually add a camera, which will become the mount. And we'll try to figure out where, ideally, the little head would be. We want to have a little bit of a wide FOV of sorts. Yeah, and we can kind of tilt it down a little tiny bit because we can't really see. And ideally, I think I'm going to kind of move him forward a bit more. So it depends on where the pedals end up being. Like we might have to rework this a little bit. Right, but put the pedals a bit more further. So that way he's kind of like more sitting down here. I mean, I could scale, probably end up doing is scaling up the whole buggy. We'll just kind of scale it all up a little bit. Nothing wrong with the buggy being a bit bigger. Just so it's a little bit more visibility when you're driving it around. Yeah, because I kind of want them to be a little bit more forward. And obviously the FOV is probably not that, I think he would be a little bit up. And then tilt it down. Say 5 degrees. Yeah, I'll change this after, but create a node underneath it. Camera mount, pilot. And we'll expose that. Ooh, that's the camera mount. And we'll call this an external. This is the one that we'll use for the third person. We'll take over camera mount for our own. So this will be camera mount external. This will be your actual camera mount, pilot. And now we want this to be 9 because it feels better by default. And then for our camera, this doesn't need to be editable anymore. I'm going to send you a video and a link of one of those projects to show you what I'm planning on doing once I make a game and have enough sales to buy this. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, please do. Photo printer? Wireless photo with ADF scanning copier. Oh, for legitimately making your own CDs. You know what? You know what'd be really good? I seem to have missed something. How's it going at RGB? It'd be really nice, man, to do a limited run of an actual like boxed version, like old school box version of a game. I see 3 deleted messages. Oh no, you don't want to worry about it. Don't worry about that. That was that was taken care of. They weren't saying anything very very friendly. We'll yeah, check out the buggy. Let me show you it in this scene so you can actually see it. Look, everything works. I'm actually using the vehicle controller entirely. So all the little like suspension system I actually have set up here. Yeah, I love the buggy. I love rear steering vehicles. They're so much better like as a forklift. I'm just lurking, but this buggy is using vehicle physics in Godot or custom vehicle. It's literally just standard old vehicle body 3D. That's what I love about it. Like this, like, man, people said shit about this. They were like, "Oh man, it's so like, you know, I don't know, like their vehicle system is so bad." Right, these are the wheels. Right, obviously the wheels aren't physically where the wheels are. That's the actual rotator of the wheels. You put your own colliders on. Right, you set the friction. You know, just it generally just works. You kind of like just, you know, define the shapes. Make sure they're not, you know, make sure your main body collider is basic and it's kind of like set up and, well, that's why I want to do it. That's why we're swirling, right? Because uniform, remember yesterday or the day before? Man, I really wish I didn't have to figure out a bunch of vector math just to get first-person camera rotation to work with planetary gravity. What do you need vector math for that? That's just the up normal. Take your basis. if you know the radius of the planet, right? If you know the radius of the planet, and you know where you know like where you are on the planet, like getting the up vector. My engine's camera first person does not count for modified up vector. Oh, okay, okay. It's one of the first things I did with my player controller is have a reference to whatever the gravitational object is. You know, the primary. Obviously, if we're doing multiple gravitational body and we're like pulling the player simultaneously, and you're trying to interpolate that, that'd be kind of complicated. But at least in my game, there's no two planets ever close enough that that would ever be a problem. So I just have area 3Ds, you know, and wherever you end up going, you just register that gravity area, and now you have a normal, and now you have a basis Y, right, that you can use for anything. If it's a square gravitational object, and if it's a sphere, if it's a planet type gravitational area, then we just take that global position and our own position. You know, like here's the global position of the, you know, the planet. Here's our position. There's our up normal, and now that we have the up normal, we can automatically align the player controller, because like even like other, you know, because I just literally always have them pogo stick, because unless they turn into a ragdoll, which they would be disabled anyway if they're a ragdoll, they're just always interpolated to just whoop, you know, be wherever they need to be. And I think that works really well because it's not over engineered. I wouldn't want to sit there and do a whole bunch of vector math to try to like you know. So my character's third person, but I tried constructing everything as relative, but still works regardless how it's rotated. Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, the issue, like for the rigid body characters that I have, it's so weird because if they're not locked, like if you don't lock them for rotation, on the two axes, they will automatically tip over anyway because they're rigid bodies. But then when you do lock them and you're moving on the basis, like, you know, like it can get weird. Like if you're not using just a standard character body 3D. Yeah. It's really interesting that there was oh man, there was a YouTube video I watched where they were actually doing that. They were taking all of the gravitational objects and doing like an interpolation between them so the character could jump between them. Hey, I got to ask for the character models and the ship models can have third person. Oh, can we have third person? I don't know. I do have a free cam, and I can adjust that free cam to be anywhere. Luckily, I just have character body. I don't have to worry about rigid. Yeah. And I don't know. I don't remember why. We started off with a character body 3D, and we switched, but I don't remember why. Oh, it was for 0G. We had to like yeah. It ended up being like it was dumb to like create a character body 3D, then still have a rigid body on it, and like kind of toggle between the states, right? It was like because that's what we did it originally, but I don't know. Maybe the character body 3D can just work in 0G, because there is like a flying mode or something. I've not really explored it, to be honest. But it is 12. I'm gonna go raid someone. We're gonna work on this a bit more tomorrow. I want to get this buggy. Oh, and let me show you. Oh, raid up if you're still there. Let me. I want to actually show you what this thing is. This is actually like kind of meant to be a. It's meant to be a platform. So like this is the lift version of the buggy. Modeling? Why am I? Oh, I'm just zoomed in. Yeah, so this is how the lift version works. So the idea is that like this thing actually, right, like has a weight module you attach to it. Right, so that's what this is, but it's actually like this is a glorified dock loader. So which is kind of funny, but you know, but you can add different modules. But I want to make like a similar to a ship, right? Like a unified thing where you can just have like a loader and then a minor version, right? A van, some cargo storage. Yeah, because I think for first person, like it's easy to cheat if you can get third person working, but there are times you need third person cinematically. So it's one of those like I added the ability to have third person, but like haven't really looked into like where I want to use it. Yeah, so this is the buggy that I'm kind of working on. So it's meant to be both, right? It's meant to be like cargo and just kind of generalized transport. So there'll be a big like a version that actually has the exit in the back. It has like just a little interior space, and you can just kind of like getting in from the ship from behind. And I think it'll be a bit longer than even this, actually, probably by like a meter. But I think it's coming along. So this way we can kind of use it for heavy stuff bigger than a box. And this way, if I need to, we can actually have an attachment here. So we can put more weights on the rear than we would be whatever we're kind of hauling. Just kind of, as long as the weight center of gravity is, like within the spire, and I can always extend these, then it should technically work. And as long as it technically works, it should visually work, I don't know why I thought of a buggy carrying another buggy. I don't know, that'd be fun. Buggy carrying parts for buggies. I thought it'd be cool to like, make it so like if the buggy breaks down, you can like swap out the motors and stuff like that. And those could always become like little things you're moving around. Like when I start making different cargo types, it'd be really funny to do like just little like a little pod of motors, and they're just actually the motors that go on a buggy, or like tires and things like that. Like like just weird shit. Because it's already in the game and it's already an asset and we're already using it. So why not just throw it in a in a square kind of a container, like a metal outer shell of sorts with like 2 tires or something like that. And I think it'd be cool. Just all this random shit you can move around and buy and sell. Alright, I think I need to watch more of that visual script thing. Hell yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna go raid someone. It is midnight. We'll be back tomorrow. And, you guys should definitely consider jumping on the Discord. Here is our Discord. Here's the Patreon. Best way to support the game, obviously, is through the $5 Patreon tier. I'm going to copy this and repaste it on the YouTube. One of these days I'll get organized. There we go. And end it here on the YouTube side.